Hello YouTube, Sandre here, and I'm back now, and I'm sorry about the absence for a while there. I was busy with studying for 2 exams, and they are out of the way now, and now I have over a month where I can focus mostly on making videos before another 2 exams are gonna show up. It's just nice to be back, you know, it's just nice to finally be able to focus on making videos again. And the next one that's going to be up is going to be on COVID-19, which is the virus that's wreaking havoc across the world right now. And the truth is, a vaccine is far off. But anyway, that's for the video that hopefully it's going to be up tomorrow. I can't guarantee that it will, but I'm going to try. Most likely it looks like it's going to be up in a few days, however. We'll have to wait and see, but at least you have this video now to satisfy you. And today I'm going to take on not just 1 or 2, but 4 ghost videos that people for some reason have suggested I debunk. Well, you know what? I don't really have any excuses anymore. I might as well just get this over with and do this now. So, yeah, let's begin. Alright, so the first video that people suggested that I debunk is called Spirit Plays with Postman in Elevator. And let me just make one thing clear. With all of these following videos, I have not seen them before. This is the first time I'm seeing all of them. So yeah, I don't know what to expect here. Oh, okay, I can already tell. I can already tell that there's a huge red flag here, and a lot of people may not even pick this up. But if you look at the text here, do you notice something that's off? First of all, there are different fonts used, which is a huge red flag, because in the vast majority of surveillance systems where they, do show the text like this in the video, there are actually some surveillance systems where they don't do that. They just show the raw feed. But in surveillance systems where they actually show the text on the feed like this, they almost always use the same font. So the fact that you have different fonts here, one type of font for what type of camera it is, as well as the date, but a different type of font for the exact time, that is a huge red flag. This just doesn't really happen in the world of surveillance. It's superfluous. It doesn't serve any purpose. If you're going to show all of this text in a feed, almost always use the same font regardless. And also the fact that the time is emboldened while the other text is not, that also doesn't make any sense. So there's 2 red flags here already. And this tells me that this text, even if this footage was real, let's say, this text was added in editing. So, yeah, we're not off to a good start here. Oh boy. Oh my, come on, really? Are you fucking kidding me? We've just taken the train to Clichéville. You mean to tell me that the pages just start to fold themselves like that just as he enters the elevator? That's awfully convenient, you know. But hey, you know, maybe this ghost used to work in the showbiz and wants to give us a performance. I don't know. But yeah, the fact that the catalog is like in the middle of the shot and it has like a perfect angle, no, that's another huge red flag. Oh, I see another one. If you look at the blinking of the lights here, you know, how it goes in and out like that, that tells me that that is most likely just an effect used. Yes, when this was recorded, this was most likely not the case. The room wasn't actually going dark, you know, because of the light source, cutting in and out. I'm suspecting that they added this effect in editing to make it look like the lights are blinking. Now, how can I be sure of that? Well, here's the thing. Cameras are actually very bad at dealing with contrast between, you know, a strong light source and darkness. You know, a lot of the people who claim that the moon landing was a hoax, one of their main arguments is that, oh, well, you know, if you look at the photos from the lunar surface taken by the astronauts, you can't see the stars in the night sky, you know, and you should be able to see them clearly, right? And I mean, you can very clearly, like the astronauts themselves, with their eyes, could see the stars clearly in the sky, you know, because the moon doesn't really have an atmosphere like the Earth does. So even when the sun is shining, you can still see the stars in the sky, and that makes sense. But the reason that you can't really see the stars, at least not that well, in these photos that they took from the moon's surface of the sky, is because cameras are not really as good as the human eye at dealing with different light levels. Since this is not the best camera, I mean, if we assume that these are actually real security cameras, and not just ordinary cameras that they strategically placed to give the appearance of surveillance footage, because this video is fake. If we assume that this is genuine, then considering the fact that surveillance cameras are not designed to give you like the best, you know, cinematically pleasing image, but rather are just focused on, well, recording things in a low bit rate to save, you know, space on the memory, and just give you enough detail to be able to identify people if need be. That's the purpose of security cameras. They're not designed to give you a nice, pleasing visual. They're designed to, you know, just have one job. Basically just give you a clear enough image where someone can be identified from a certain distance. That's all they're designed to do. And so an ordinary camera doesn't deal with flickering lights as well as you see in this video. And especially not a security camera. So if this video was real, what would happen is when the lights start flickering like that, you would actually start to see the security camera going in and out of focus. Because that's how cheap cameras, like security cameras, that's how they operate. They can't deal with you know, differences in light and darkness that well, especially not security cameras. So if this video was indeed authentic, that corner here of this quadrant, you would see the camera actually, you know, going in and out of focus as soon as the light starts flickering, because it's just not designed to handle shifting light levels like that. And that's another sure sign that this is all staged. In fact, I don't even think the room is actually flickering. I think this is an actual effect that they added in editing. Okay. Yeah, this video is fake. Come on. Just come on. You see how the video quality is in this video in general. Now, do you notice something weird about this ghost? Isn't it just a bit too detailed? The overall image quality of this video is not the best, which, you know, should make it a bit more believable, because again, security cameras are not designed to have good bit rate. In fact, they're designed for the opposite. They're designed to have low bit rate to save room on any hard drive where the video files are stored. They're not designed to give you a nice, cinematically pleasing image. And so you would actually expect there to be a lot of artifacts from you know, any recording with a security camera. And there are some, to be fair, when it comes to the other parts of this footage. But that can also just be simulated easily in an editing program just to make it, you know, make all of this more believable to someone like me who actually understands how cameras and you know, this sort of thing works. But when you look at this ghost, strangely, this ghost looks a bit too detailed. If you compare it to everything else in this footage, this ghost appears just a bit too detailed, doesn't it? No artifacts from being recorded with a security camera, as you would expect, and no blurriness like the rest of the video. The blocky nature that you see in the rest of the video, you don't really see in this ghostly apparition. Yeah, this is 100% fake. This has been added in editing. It's that simple. This video is fake, and I can't believe that someone actually wanted me to debunk this. This is this is ridiculous. But yeah, let's move on to the next video. Okay, so this next video is called "Ghost at Apartment Parking at 12 o'clock at night." Wait, what? This is it? This is what you want me to debunk? Are you kidding me? Are you legit kidding me? You know, you could suggest an actual challenge for me to debunk. And this is what you give me. This is what you want me to debunk. Are you serious? Okay, fine. Have you heard of something called gravity?
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
Okay, so here's the deal. This floor is obviously not level, and the floor is obviously going down at an incline in the direction where the ladder is headed. Because whenever you have something at an elevation compared to a lower elevation, comparatively speaking, that object has a higher potential energy that it wants to convert into kinetic energy than the thing that is at a lower elevation. Like, this is just basic middle school physics. Everyone should be able to understand this. Anything that is at a further distance from the Earth's center of mass compared to anything else is going to have a higher potential energy stored. Okay? Now what this means is that any object that has a higher elevation than another object, that object is going to have a bias to go at a lower elevation because gravity is pulling it down. So when you have this slight incline, the ladder wants to go down to a lower elevation where the potential energy is lower. Again, I can't believe I have to explain this to people. Now people might be wondering, well, I've seen ladders, stand perfectly fine and not actually start moving like that on floors that have even more of an incline, and you can barely see the incline here when you can easily watch a ladder stand at an even more extreme incline normally and not start walking by itself down to a lower elevation. So why is this? Well, the reason is, I don't know if you noticed, but the floor is wet, you dummy. Just like you have gravity, which is a force that wants to pull things down, okay, towards the Earth's center of mass, you have another force that is counteracting gravity here called friction, okay? Now, the thing about friction is you can decrease friction between two surfaces if you add a thin layer of a liquid between, like water. This is why when it's been raining a lot outside, they usually tell you on the radio, hey, be careful on the roads, it's slippery, because water makes any surface have less friction. And so the friction that would normally prevent this ladder from, seemingly walking by itself down to a lower elevation when the floor is dry, that friction is reduced now. And now the potential energy that's stored in the ladder, it can overcome the friction force that would normally be present when this floor was dry. There's no ghost here. There's nothing supernatural at all. This is just basic middle school physics that anyone should be able to figure out. And I legit can't believe that people think that I should spend my time debunking this. But hey, I just did. Okay, so the next video is Haunted Elevator CCTV Spirit. Freaky. Alright, so let's take a look. Okay, I can already tell there's a huge red flag here. See, the thing about scan lines is that they're not as common as people think. Yeah, so that alone is a huge red flag. But another thing that doesn't make sense is the unevenness of the scan lines. This doesn't make any sense. Scan lines are uniform because they are essentially just a consequence of the way that something is digitally recorded. They are a digital artifact, I guess you could call it. It doesn't make any sense that it would be uneven like this. So either these scan lines are a product of a screen that's broken, or it's added in editing. Ironically, probably to make this look more realistic, but the person obviously have no fucking clue how security cameras actually work. And, oh, I noticed another red flag here. If you look closely in the video, you can actually see that the scan lines actually go outside of the footage itself, and it actually is visible now in this black area. And, oh yeah, another thing that you should be able to tell by now is that this is not the original footage. Someone is playing this footage on a screen and recording the screen. Now, why they would do that, I have no idea. It would make so much more sense to just take the raw video file that's already recorded and just upload that directly, because then we would have a much better image quality, and we would be able to discern everything better. But I think there's a reason why that's not being done here, because this is a very common tactic by people who fake footage like this. They sometimes record something off of a screen where the original footage is playing, instead of just, uploading the original footage itself. And the reason is, it actually hides some of the artifacts that would be left behind from video editing, because you're sort of okay, so whenever a camera is recording anything, you're always going to have noise, okay? And a bunch of artifacts. It's always going to happen. It doesn't matter how expensive the camera is. It doesn't matter how professional the equipment is. You're always going to have some noise and some artifacts present in any footage that you take, especially with a digital camera. That's just how it is. It's the nature of the beast. And so you add on top of that even more noise and artifacts whenever you edit something. Okay? And a way to sort of hide this artifact and the noise that is, added into any video that you're editing is to record, a secondary video off of a screen that is showing the original footage or the edited footage. This is a way that you can sort of add even more noise and artifacts to hide the ones that you added indirectly when you edited the footage. It's a little bit like recordingception, if you will, but it's a tactic that a lot of fakers have, because they honestly think that people are so dumb where they're not going to question, hey, why didn't you just upload the original video file? Why are you giving us this secondary clip of you just recording a screen? And that's why you're seeing these scan lines actually leak out of the original footage that is being recorded into the footage here of the person who is filming this off of the screen. So what this tells me is that these scan lines are added in editing, and this is 100% the case. There's no way you would have it this way otherwise. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. So someone has added these scan lines in editing, because otherwise we literally wouldn't leak out like this. It just wouldn't happen. Wow. Like I said, welcome to Clichéville. You know, I was expecting like a girl with black hair in a white gown, but hey, I guess this is close enough. This is a boy, it seems, in a white shirt. Now, like I said before, I have not seen these videos before. It's the first time I'm seeing them, and yeah, I don't know. We are on the last one now, and I really hope that this one is actually going to be a little bit of a challenge. And this one is called Real Ghost at Night, and we'll see if this one is actually a bit of a challenge.
Watch how this ghost is working out.
Wow.
You can see this.
Gotta get swole, bro.
Itself, just like somebody's sitting there. Man, it's a scary vision.
Well, you know, being dead is no excuse, I guess, you know. You, gotta keep those, New Year's resolutions, right? Even from beyond the fucking grave. Okay, I don't know, I guess ghosts get, cellulites? or love handles? I don't know. But look, first of all, even if this is a ghost, why the hell would a ghost need to work out? Okay, whatever. Okay, so let's try and explain this footage. How could this be fake? Now, I actually have to say, this is actually a bit of a positive surprise. I'm actually, you know, genuinely glad that I got to review this footage, because it is actually a little bit of a challenge. The other ones are very easy to see how they're faked, but this one is actually a little bit more tricky. But of course, you know, there are ways you can explain this. So if we go back to the beginning of this video. So one way you could explain this video is that they're simply just, you know, using a string of some kind to make this thing go up and down. And you might be wondering, but Sandre, hold on. If this thing was going from side to side, that would make sense, because, you know, there's a reason why in a lot of these fucking ghosts caught on video, you know, videos being uploaded, there's a reason why they're usually moving water bottles across a table or swinging a fucking lamp, you know, from side to side or whatever. That's because due to, you know, basic geometry, it's a lot easier for us as humans to fake a movement from side to side. Okay? So if you know, it's very easy to attach a line to something and just make it move in a direction that is basically horizontal. So faking movement with fishing lines and all that stuff, that's very easy to do in a horizontal movement. So it's very easy to fake that. It's a lot harder to fake movement laterally, meaning, you know, up and down. That's a lot harder. And it can still be done, though. And so the way that they could actually fake this, if there is a line involved, is that there could be some kind of equipment, you know, there could be some kind of overpass that we are not seeing here in this footage. There could perhaps be a crane. Because, you know, the thing I noticed about this footage is that it's awfully empty, you know. I have no idea where this is. But when you look around, like, it's a weird place for an out gym to be, isn't it? Because it's in a weird location, let's put it that way. And something tells me that this is equipment that hasn't yet been installed in its final destination. So maybe this is outside of a park of some kind, and they've just temporarily put this equipment here because maybe the next day or within a week they're gonna install it into, you know, its actual destination in the ground. Because I have no idea why the fuck you would place workout equipment like that in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't make any sense. It would make sense to place it there temporarily, though, before you are going to put it in its final place. So what I'm guessing here is if this first option is how they did it, that they simply attached a line to a part of this machine to make it go up and down like this. What I'm guessing is maybe there's some kind of crane that is not visible in the footage. And what they did was that they attached a weight to some kind of fishing line, or basically put a bunch of fishing lines together, intertwined them so it became stronger. It could actually handle the stress of being, pulling this heavy chunk of metal up and down. It could be that they attached a weight to it over the arm of this crane, and then simply attached the other end to either the handle of this thing, or the chair, or another part that goes up and down, basically. So that's the first option. And that's one way that you could easily fake this. And assuming that they didn't do any video editing, that's 100% how they did this. No question in my mind. That's 100% how they did this. Now there's another option too. They could simply have one of their buddies holding a certain part of this machine, and basically just moving the thing up and down. And then they record another piece of footage where their friend is simply just holding this chair up in a static position for a few seconds. And then they basically just interlace the two different types of footage and use a mask to hide their friend who's moving this up and down. That's definitely possible. And, some people might say, but, he zooms in a certain way and it blends in perfectly. And, well, you can choreograph these sorts of things. They do that in Hollywood all the time, So it's definitely hard, especially for amateurs to do, but it's not impossible. And, I mean, let's use Occam's razor here. It's far more likely that that's the case than that they actually captured a ghost. I mean, come on, people, use your common sense. Come on now. But yeah, let's go back from the beginning, because I want to see which one of these two options it is. I don't know if you guys caught this, but let's go back and focus on the part below the metal rod of the chair part. Just focus on that, and you will see a weird artifact. Yeah, I called it. So here's the deal. This is how I think they faked it. So they have their friend, and he's holding his hand, basically, in one piece of footage. He's holding the chair up, basically, at its highest possible position. And they have a few seconds of that footage. And then they have another piece of footage where he basically moves the chair up and down continuously. And what they're doing is they're masking out their friend who's doing this by using the other footage where his hand and arm is not visible. And the reason I'm saying this is because you notice these weird artifacts from the metallic parts of his chair. And it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why metal would, have these weird artifacts when it's not moving that fast. This is a very bad video camera, of course. This cell phone that they're using to record this, it has a horrible camera. But still, even with this potato, they should be able to, have more detail on the actual structure of this training equipment, and they don't. I mean, if we go back once more, you notice that for some reason there's this weird blurring going on. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And yeah, you can see this. You can literally see this artifact. There's this strange trail from this metallic rod thing as it goes up and down, and you can even tell that it has a weird hue. Like the hue of this artifact doesn't match the hue of the rest of the footage. Everything else in the footage appears very yellowish because of the streetlight, but that artifact that is left behind as the chair moves up and down, it looks awfully beige instead of bright yellow, which tells me that, yeah, that's an artifact of a hand moving this up and down. And in order to hide the mask that they're using to hide their body in editing, they probably added a diffusion at the border between the mask and the rest of the footage. And the problem then is, then you also run the risk of having a little bit of the hand, a few pixels of the hand, remaining in the footage. And that's probably what you're seeing here. That would explain why the hue is in a skin tone rather than in a bright yellow here. And yeah, I think that explains it perfectly. There's two options. One is, even if they didn't add any video effects to this, then this could easily be faked. If you have an overpass that we're not seeing, or you have a temporary crane of some kind. And yeah, they just attached a weight to some fishing lines that they basically just, you know, nuked together like a rope to add tensile strength so it can deal with the weight of this thing. And then they just threw that over the crane, and then they just attached the other end to a part that goes up and down on this training equipment, probably the handle or the chair itself. And then they just pull it up and down, and due to the bad resolution of the camera and its low bit rate, it's not going to be able to detect the strings. Or, like I think what's actually going on here, the more likely explanation is that they're simply letting their friend move this thing up and down by holding on to this lower part of this metallic rod and just pushing it up and down. And then they've also recorded a few seconds of him simply holding it up in a static position, and they're using that footage to mask out their friend in the other footage. And that would explain why you see this strange artifact whose, you know, color and hue doesn't match the rest of the video. And so, yeah, I'm gonna call all of these videos, I'm gonna call them debunked. But like I said, I'm gonna try and have the video on the coronavirus done tomorrow. Quite possibly it's gonna be a few days though, but it's not gonna be in too long of a time though. It's gonna be soon. And until then, yeah, consider supporting me if you wanna watch more videos more often. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye!